This is a ZenoLink data view analysis for Brent Davis. This is for a golf swing collected in October 2011. We'll begin in the performance profile and focus on the number we call performance factor, which tells us how effective the golfer is utilizing peak speed output at impact. Brent is using 99% of his peak linear, 74% of his peak angular, both of which are very high. However, we do see the angular release component is below what we would see at a lead tour level and a little bit below what we're seeing in terms of his utilization of linear. So that tells us that there are some power leaks. There is speed developed during the swing that is not being utilized at impact. And that tells us that there's more than likely some sort of biomechanical breakdown occurring in the swing. When we look at the kinetic link, we're essentially looking at the power generation process from the ground up. So we look at the rotational speed output of the hip segment, the shoulder segment, the arm segment, and we look at the rotational speed output of the club shaft as it releases into impact. We see a very nice kinetic link. Hips, shoulders, arms, club released very close to impact, utilizing the vast majority of the speed output. So all in all, we have a good kinetic link, but we do have some holes or some breakdowns or power leaks in this kinetic link. One is the amount and the ability to transfer speed from the lower body to the upper body. So we can work on producing more lower body speed, maybe more importantly, creating a better acceleration-deceleration dynamic to transfer more of that speed through the core. The other thing is we can create a better dynamic between the body, the arms, and the club so that the club is more effectively released and more efficiently released and released even closer to impact, so more of that speed is being utilized at the impact zone. The next area we'll look at then is stability. And stability, we break into two areas. First, lower body mechanics, where we look at the relationship between forward weight shift and rotation. The blue line being the forward weight shift, center of mass, movement along the target line, moving towards the target positive, away from the target minus or negative, and then the rotation of the pelvis, backswing, downswing, open to the target line. We see a little tendency towards what we'll call lateral instability at the end of the backswing here. You can kind of see this visually. There's a little bit of a tendency to maybe over-rotate just a little bit, and in order to rotate, give up some stability. You see the kind of weight kind of rolling to the outside of the foot to the heel, puts the lower body in a slightly mechanically disadvantaged position, just slightly, but that's robbing Brent of a little bit of power and also some timing and stability for the spine. So that's impacting our overall kinetic link. So we want to look at that. We also see that through the impact zone, we have a slightly late effective forward weight shift. So the initial stuff is getting Brent back to an effective posture where we see him right here. Then we see him press forward from there. But there's a little bit of lateral instability as he continues to press forward through, and you can kind of see that visually sliding this way, moving weight to the outside of the foot, kind of moving in the heel and kind of sliding that weight through. So we want to improve stability at the end of the backswing, improve forward weight shift, and improve stability through the impact zone to create a better foundation for movement. That's going to improve power, but also consistency of movement. When we look at spine stability, what we're looking at is the golfer's ability to maintain an axis of rotation in space and work the body segments perpendicular to that axis. What we see here is flexion extension, left and right lateral bending. We typically see about 30 degrees forward flexion followed by some gradual extension, and about 10 degrees of left bend followed by some gradual right bend. In Brent's case, what we see is he goes into an extension left bend pinch, and you can see that as a function of letting the weight shift this direction, over-rotating, rather than the spine staying stacked and working around the spine. We see a left bend extension pinching on the spine. That, if we're looking from the rear, and that is going to impact range of motion, but more importantly, impact the engagement of core musculature and upper body musculature as a function of the kinetic link. So the better, the more stable the core, the more consistent the movement, but also the more effective muscle utilization. So that's another area that we want to work on, and that's a function of lower body mechanics. So the two go hand in hand. The next area we'll look at is muscular load, where we're looking at the golfer's ability to pre-stretch muscles prior to contraction. We'll first look at the core, where we'll look at stretch, shorten the core. We're looking for a V pattern, stretch, good response, shorten or force output of the muscle to occur in the downswing. The function of the kinetic link between the hips and the shoulders. And we do see that. The only sort of drawback or limitation is the rate or the effectiveness of the muscular stretch. And it's a little limited, and that's a result of the lower body mechanical issues and the spine mechanical issues. And the more we improve the lower body and the core mechanics, the more effective the loading of the core musculature, the more efficient and the more powerful the pattern. We'll see when we look at the upper body. We're looking at stretch through the upper back, shoulders, arms. We would be looking for a V to occur in the downswing as a function of the kinetic link between the shoulders and the arms. And again, that's exactly what we see, but with limited stretch. And for all the same reasons, as we improve lower body foundational mechanics and core mechanics, we will improve stretch shorten mechanics, which will improve power, but also consistency and efficiency of movement. The last area we'll look at, club dynamics, is really looking at the delivery of speed into the impact zone. So as Brent swings, he's creating momentum, mass times velocity. Velocity is a function of angular release and then the linear output it creates. The linear output has direction, so speed along the target line, X, speed up and down, Y, speed inside out, outside in, Z. The square of the delivery of speed, the more effective the transfer of momentum from club head to ball. What we see here is collision occurring a little bit closer to frame 14, if you can see, and we have a pretty square delivery, most of the speed along the target line, a little bit inside out, a little bit downward as Brent comes into the impact zone. You'll see that Y and Z cross at the 0 line or at the x-axis, which tells us that really maximizing the delivery of speed into the impact zone, doing a wonderful job of delivering that speed. What we want to look at is the process by which the speed is being delivered, the amount of speed as well as the efficiency of the production of that speed. The two areas that we saw some issue would be lower body mechanics and transfer of speed from the body through the arms to the club. We'll work predominantly on lower body mechanics, stability and power, as well as core mechanics, stability and core rotational or power, as our primary focus, secondarily working on the dynamic of releasing the club more efficiently into the impact zone. And so we're going to work on the process of power and the efficiency of power development.